And here we go. Alert day conditions just right around the corner. No changes. Heat index values all the way up to 101. We're tracking those dew points moving in. That's going to be part of the humidity that we're going to experience this dangerous weekend of heat.
And bond is set for the couple accused of trying to poison women. We take a look at the criminal complaint and what led to their arrest. Plus, GHC workers picket why officials say allegations of union busting are without merit. It's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Eric Franke. Sarah is off tonight. Alert day conditions are in the forecast in the form of heat for the weekend. And Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington joins us now with how hot it'll get, Alex.
Yep, heat index values 100 to 105 degrees across all of southern Wisconsin. This will be most certainly the hottest weekend of the year and the hottest temperatures we've had all year as well, lasting Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. This is a prolonged period of dangerously hot temperatures. When you start to get to about 3 days of heat, and if you don't have that ability for your body to cool down, that's where you start to notice the potential for heat-related illness. When we're looking at heat index values, that's what it feels like to your body. 103 Saturday, 103 Sunday, and 100 on Monday. And a big factor of that, well, I don't show this very often, I do when I need to, and that's the dew points. Right now, the dew point is 64 in Madison. That's on the sticky side, but look out to the west, out towards the Mississippi River. We've got 70-degree dew points already. That's the tropical stuff. You go into Decorah, 75. That's the oppressive stuff, and that's just a hint of things to come. In Maine weather, I'm going to show you how expansive this plume of very, very humid air is in the Midwest. It's on its way to southern Wisconsin. Right now, we're still sitting at 77 degrees in Madison at 10 o'clock at night. 80s out to the west. I need to remind you, 80 degrees is our normal high temperature for this time of year. Coming up in Maine weather, though, we'll track those heat index values in your neighborhood and then talk about after the heat, what's after that? A whole bunch of heavy rain. I'll give you a projection coming up.
All right, Alex, and all this hot weather is coming during the first weekend of summer officially, which means a busy Saturday. Several outdoor events happening. Madison's Farmers Market, of course, the Juneteenth celebration, the Naked Bike Ride returns to the capital city. Hundreds of bikers will raise awareness for oil use, also body positivity with the Naked Bike Ride.
You're considering doing the ride and you are worried you might not do so well in the heat, come next year. Do not risk it. It's a fun event to question our dependence on oil and to celebrate body positivity, but we do this every year.
Organizers with the Naked Bike Ride say they're urging riders to bring water and stop riding if they start to feel exhausted. You can track the heat for yourself with our First Warn weather app. Hourly temperature updates. Watch the road conditions as well. Pavement may buckle in this kind of heat, plus radar as well. You can download it for free in your phone's app store. Just search WISC weather. The couple that is charged in a plot to poison women in both Dane and Rock counties appeared in court today. In Rock County, Andrea Whitaker and Paul Van Dyne are charged with 3 counts of attempted first-degree intentional homicide, aggravated battery, first-degree recklessly endangering safety, and also stalking resulting in bodily harm. In Dane County, Van Dyne is charged with 2 counts of attempted first-degree intentional homicide and felony stalking. Whitaker charged with 2 counts of attempted first-degree homicide as party to a crime and harboring and aiding a felon. Now, Ellie La Liberte breaks down the details that she found in the criminal complaint.
Today, a Dane County judge set Paul Van Dyne's bail at $10 million and Andrea Whitaker's at $4 million. And while determining that bail, a victim of this poisoning plot spoke to the court saying she's still scared for her life. Now, we've changed her voice to protect her privacy.
All over a year ago, I went on just 2 dates with this man, and now my entire life has been turned upside down.
That Dane County woman describing the actions of someone she says she barely knew.
Paul is a threat. He is dangerous.
According to court records, Van Dyne and Whitaker allegedly tried to kill the Dane County victim twice in May using cyanide.
I am scared for myself. I'm scared for my 2 children. I cannot sleep soundly. I cannot focus at work or be fully present at home because I'm constantly bracing for what Paul and Andrea might do next.
She says in April, Whitaker broke into her garage.
It's become horrifyingly clear. Andrea's intentions and actions, like Paul's, were to kill me.
Another woman who had a brief relationship with Van Dyne was hospitalized for poisoning in Rock County. The complaint claims that Whitaker and Van Dyne tried to kill that victim 3 different times using various chemicals. At Whitaker's first hearing on Wednesday, prosecutors called her, quote, the brains of the operation, while Van Dyne would carry it out. From Whitaker's phone, detectives pulled these messages between the two, discussing lethal doses of chemicals, how to obtain them, and Van Dyne saying, quote, "I'll have all I need to get rid of Satan."
The truth is, I barely knew him. And yet, he and his accomplice decided that I should die. I deserve to feel safe. The community deserves to live free of fear.
According to the criminal complaint, on Whitaker's phone, there are also 125 internet searches for various chemicals and how they could kill people.
Ellie, thank you. Now, while in jail, Van Dyne allegedly called Whitaker, asked her to remove items from his home, and police say Whitaker was arrested while attempting to do so. Now to an update on the deadly shooting that happened at a Janesville apartment complex Tuesday morning. Police are confirming the shooting is a murder-suicide. 3 people died at the scene. The Rock County Medical Examiner's Office identified them as 25-year-old Julia Savicker, 21-year-old Javarius Wicks, and 55-year-old Scott Roberts. Law enforcement did not identify which one was the shooter. It stemmed from a domestic relationship, they say, between 2 of the people involved. Officers found a 4th person unresponsive with a gunshot wound in the doorway of the apartment. They were taken to a hospital with life-threatening injuries and remain in critical condition. And the chairman of the town of Chester, that's in Dodge County, is facing felony animal abuse charges after allegedly choking a dog to death with a leash. Shelby Crone brought a golden retriever she was trying to save to Richard Van Buren, who you saw a moment ago, when he allegedly fashioned a leash into a noose and pulled the dog by the neck through her car window. The dog then bit Van Buren's finger, and he allegedly lifted it up on the leash with both hands raised up in the air, hanging the animal, all the while Crone was trying to intervene. But she says Van Buren replied, "This expletive dog bit me. It's going to die."
I wanted to save him. Why are you doing this? And the next thing I know, he takes that dog's limp body as he's still holding it in the air and throws it in the dog cage.
Van Buren's signature bond has been set at $5,000, and he is ordered to not have any domesticated dogs on his property. He's due back in court next month. We're a little less than a week out now from the politically motivated shooting in Minnesota that left 1 lawmaker dead and another injured, an incident that raises questions about continued political violence that we've seen in recent years. It's not a recent issue, though. 14 years ago, Arizona Congresswoman Gabby Giffords survived an attempt on her life. In the wake of that shooting, she started an organization to track and mitigate gun violence across the country. We spoke with Giffords Policy Director Jesse Ojeda about the state of political violence right now.
I think it's around, last I saw, 1/3 of Americans believe that it's justified to use physical violence to defend the country right now. And upwards of 80% believe that our democracy is under attack. So these numbers are continuing to grow every year, which is deeply concerning because if we don't have democracy, we don't have much else.
You can see more from this conversation Sunday at 10:30 on For the Record. Today, Group Health Cooperative Workers United held an informational picket. The union is demanding that GHC management ends alleged union busting efforts and recognize the workers' union. Workers United says 70% of primary and urgent care workers are ready to unionize, but they say GHC has used attorneys and weaponized the labor board to delay the union election.
GHC workers have a right to unionize, just like our union siblings at Meritor. Yes. And we won't stop, because when we fight, we win! That's right.
GHC says the unfair labor practice charges are just allegations and are entirely without merit.
In fact, GHC has suggested to the National Labor Relations Board that we have another hearing, and we're excited to get all of those accusations out in the light of day.
GHC says it has offered 3 separate dates for when workers could vote on whether or not to unionize. While sparklers, bottle rockets, and other fireworks are summer staples, they also injure hundreds of people every year. The U.S. Consumer Product and Safety Commission reports that in 2023, 9,700 people were in the emergency room for firework-related injuries. 66% of those happened in the weeks before and after the 4th of July, with the most common injuries to hands and fingers.
But these little fireworks have enough power to completely amputate fingers, multiple fingers, even part of the hand. I've even seen an arm blown off in an 8-year-old. So this is really, really serious stuff.
SSM health doctors say if you choose to use fireworks, avoid alcohol, use protective eyewear, never allow kids to handle them, and never relight a so-called dud firework. Well, AAA is expecting some 72 million Americans to make a great getaway this July 4th holiday. At Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, customs officials say wait times are down 25%. They say that's thanks to new enhanced passenger processing technology that uses facial recognition. Soon, a new review program for X-ray images will debut, so connecting London passengers won't have to clear security a second time.
This program streamlines and improves the travel experience for our customers, saving them time and reducing the complexity of re-clearing security, all while continuing to maintain the highest security standards.
AAA expects most will drive over the July 4th holiday, a record of nearly 62 million, up by 1.3 million from just a year ago. Still to come at 10, California suffers a setback in its attempt to block the deployment of National Guard troops, and President Trump meets with his national security team. This as European leaders hold talks with Iranian officials. That's next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Amid the deepening conflict between Iran and Israel, President Trump took part in a national security meeting. This as European leaders spoke with Iranian officials earlier today. Erica Brown with the latest from the White House.
As President Trump departed the White House Friday, he expressed concerns about Iran's potential nuclear capabilities.
And I think within a matter of weeks, or certainly within a matter of months, they're going to be able to have a nuclear weapon. We can't let that happen.
This comes a day after the president left the door open for a diplomatic resolution to the intensifying conflict between Israel and Iran, saying he'll decide within 2 weeks whether the U.S. will formally join Israel in attacking Iran's nuclear facilities.
We've been speaking to Iran, and we'll see what happens.
Also on Friday, the president's director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, said in a social media post she's in agreement with the president about Iran, writing, "America has intelligence that Iran is at the point that it can produce a nuclear weapon within weeks to months. President Trump has been clear that can't happen, and I agree." The post comes after Gabbard previously suggested to lawmakers that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon, and President Trump called that assessment wrong. In a possible step towards diplomacy, Iran's foreign minister met with European leaders Friday in Switzerland, the first face-to-face talks since the fighting began. The U.S. was not part of today's talks in Europe, but the U.K.'s foreign secretary said European representatives made it clear Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. He urged Iran to continue negotiations with the United States.
It is hugely important that we don't see regional escalation of this conflict.
Following Friday's talks in Geneva, Iran's foreign minister said his country supports the continuation of discussions, though he insists Tehran will not negotiate with the U.S. as long as Israel continues its attacks. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
Any deal could only be signed off on by Iran's supreme leader. Diplomatic sources say he is in hiding amid Israeli assassination attempts. California's governor has suffered a setback in his effort to prevent President Trump from controlling National Guard troops. That ruling came after ICE agents were denied access to the Dodgers stadium. The Department of Homeland Security says the incident is unrelated to any operation or enforcement. Many in the region are on edge as immigration raids continue. One in the parking lot of a Home Depot resulted in dozens of people rounded up and taken away.
They say that the people are getting deported are going to be the ones that are committing crimes and all that. They just snatching everybody up. Anybody, father, mother, cousin, whatever,
Meanwhile, President Trump is hinting he may deploy the military all over the country as he continues to prioritize deportations from Democratic-run cities. The world's largest cargo plane is almost ready for takeoff. The Windrunner stretches longer than a football field with a wingspan wider than most commercial jets. Creators say it could play a key role in renewable energy, carrying colossal wind turbine blades too large for roads or rail. Despite its size, designers say it can touch down in remote locations.
Its cockpit is about the height of a 5-story building. Volumetrically, it's about 12 times the volume of a 747. So it's a gigantic aircraft, but it also has the capability of landing on relatively short dirt strips.
It could also support military missions. 6 Chinook helicopters can fit inside with their blades intact. The Windrunner is set to soar by the year 2030. The heat will reach alert day condition levels over the weekend. Here's Alex to join us with how hot it'll feel all across southern Wisconsin. Alex.
That's right. Here we go. Heat index values will approach or exceed 100 degrees across all of southern Wisconsin Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And as I mentioned just earlier in the newscast, 3 days of extreme heat. That's not good stuff. It's not good for your body. So if you have to be out in these conditions, I know there are folks that are working outdoors. Please take it easy the next couple of days, and I hope you have some opportunity to find some cool periods, a cool spot to go throughout the course of the weekend. Current temperatures right now, not anything cool about this right now. 77 in Madison, 80s out to the west. I want to remind you, our normal high temperature this time of year is 80 degrees, and our low temperatures tonight are not going to be much lower than where we're at right now. Here in Dane County, we got 77 in Madison, McFarland, Oregon, Sun Prairie. Then we got 78 up the road on 14 heading out towards Cross Plains and out towards the Wisconsin River Valley. That heat index forecast, let's track that here together. Let's start off tomorrow morning. We'll have a dew point. That's a measure of moisture, 71. We'll go up 83. That's what it's going to feel like with a temperature right around 80. And as we march through the morning, lunchtime, it's going to feel like 95 as the actual air temperature on the left approaches 90 degrees. The dew point, that's a measure of moisture, that's in the 70s, stays in the low to mid 70s for dew points as temperatures climb in the afternoon up to 93 to 95. There's that very hot heat index value of 103. That's how that all works out. And then even at nighttime, around 9, 10 o'clock, still feeling like 90 degrees outside because your body's not going to get much of a chance to cool off at nighttime with lows very, very warm, which I'll show in just a moment. We repeat on Sunday and we repeat on Monday. You might think winds of 40 miles per hour on Saturday. That's ushering in that hot, humid air mass is going to give you much reprieve. It really won't, fortunately, because it's just going to be blowing around. This steam that's out in Iowa right now, dew points in the mid to upper 70s, that's getting close to about as high as dew points can get, and that's going to move upwards and north and east with oppressive humidity levels Saturday, Sunday, Monday, perhaps even going on into Tuesday and Wednesday as well, even as temperatures cool down. And it's the nighttime lows. We're going to shatter these record warm lows the next couple of nights here. It doesn't give your body a chance to cool down if you don't have air conditioning. So please find some cool spots to go the next couple of days. And then as we head out beyond our heat wave, then a stationary front's going to set up, and that stationary front is going to bring periods of rain and thunderstorms. Some of that rain is going to be on the heavy side. We could be looking at some flooding conditions next week. And look at our muggy meter going all the way out into next week. Even though the temperatures are going to go down a little bit closer to normal, it's still going to be very humid next week. So you're going to need the AC with high rain chances next week. And I mentioned, I'd give you a projection here. We're watching somewhere in the upper Midwest between 3 and 6 inches of rain next week over the course of the next 10 days.
But first, the heat. I saw a lot of lawnmowers happening tonight. They were smart. Getting it done before the heat tomorrow.
I still got to do mine.
You're doing the heat.
We got to do it tomorrow morning.
Speaking of mowing them down.
Holy cow, how about that guy, huh?
The Brewers with an impressive young man on the mound.
100, 102, 103.
It had me excited. I was saying perfect game, Zach. Keep it on.
I think we jinxed it a little bit. But coming up in sports, Jacob Mizorowski was dealing again the franchise record he set in just his second career start with the Brewers. That's next on News 3 Now. In his first career big league start with the Brewers, all Jacob Mizorowski did was pitch 5 innings of no-hit baseball and throw 14 pitches over 100 miles per hour. Well, the Miz was at it again. Second career start for Mizorowski tonight as the Brewers were visiting the Twins, and he was throwing some nasty stuff. Maybe we have the video, maybe not. Well, I guess you don't get to see about the video that we were talking about with what he did, but maybe we can go to the next. There we go. Okay, there's Jacob Mizorowski warming up for his second career start against the Twins. And he was throwing that nasty stuff that I was talking about, making the Twins fall down the end of the inning. The Miz started the game with 6 perfect innings to set a franchise record with 11 no-hit innings to start a major league career. Now, he'd give up a 2-run homer in the 7th, but it wouldn't matter. There was plenty of run support. Jackson Churio bloops one into right to allow Sal Frelick to score all the way from first. Brewers get the win, 17-6, the final. Now, remember that whole thing a couple months ago between the Badgers, Xavier Lucas, and the Hurricanes? Well, it's not over yet. Wisconsin and VC Connect LLC are suing the University of Miami, saying the Hurricanes tampered with the NIL contracts they had with Lucas. The suit claims that Miami persuaded the cornerback to break his agreements and transfer, which violates NCAA anti-tampering rules. Well, we're a couple months away from Greg Gard's squad tipping off their season, but it's never too early to start getting ready for the 132nd meeting between Wisconsin and Marquette, because the date has been set for this year's installment of the I-94 rivalry. The Badgers will host the Golden Eagles on December 6th. Remember, last year UW lost the game, but they've won 4 of the last 6 meetings between the two. With 2 of the best words in sports are Game 7, and thanks to the Pacers, there will be one in the NBA Finals. In a must-win game last night, Indiana dominated OKC to tie the series up at 3. Oshkosh native Tyrese Halliburton scored 14 points and dished out 5 assists in the win. So now it's a 1-game series to win a world championship, and Halliburton is just trying to focus on Sunday's game.
You know, for the next couple days, it's going to be, the narratives are going to be almost poison, to talk about what this would mean to our city and our organization and legacy talk, and we played so well, and now the pressure's on. It's going to, you know what I mean? There's going to be, narratives that we can't really pay attention to.
Let's kick it girls state soccer. Edgewood taking on Kiel in the Division III semifinals. This one's scoreless after 80 minutes, and that's when Sonoma Beaver broke free. The Crusaders' leading scorer buries one in off the corner kick to give Edgewood a 1-0 lead. She'd add another later in overtime as the Crusaders march on to the finals with a 2-0 win. And in Division II, Sauk Prairie's season comes to an end in the semis at the hands of Brookfield Central. 3-0 was the final. That's it for sports. Alex is back with one last look at your forecast after this.
Warm weekend.
Yep, here comes the sizzle. Let's take a look at these next 3 days. 90s by day, near 80 by night. We're going to shatter, maybe I should say we're going to melt our record warm lows all these next couple nights. 76 tonight, 78 tomorrow night, 78 on Sunday night. When you can't get below 80 at nighttime and you have highs in the 90s and the heat index value is approaching 103 degrees, your body really is going to take a toll on this. You really need to take this seriously this weekend.
All right, take care of your neighbors, your pets, all that stuff, and get ready for a warm one, folks. Stay cool out there. Thanks for joining us. Colbert is next. Have a great week.